Vanderbilt head football coach, Derek Mason. Now, I got to give y'all one little behind-the-scenes deal. Kelly Holcomb, some of you all hear him on our show. Kelly Holcomb loves ripping me to shreds, loves to do it on the air, off the air.
That's why we love him.
I was afraid of that. She said that's why we love him. You were with Kelly Holcomb in Minnesota. Can you give us publicly some dirt on him that we can throw on him?
You know what? Really, no dirt about Kelly. Every day,
Closer, yeah.
every day that we were together, he was a man of integrity. He did a great job.
Please, I don't need that.
I'm just telling you.
That's not what we need.
I'm just telling you. He came into the building. He did a great job. I mean, really. First one in, last one out, which is what you expect from that position. And, really, we had some success. I mean, first year 8-8, second year, 10-4, and then third year, or actually 10-6, and then third year 12-4.
Yeah.
But Kelly was outstanding.
See, I don't even get any. I'd have given him $1 if he would have just given me some level of dirt on Kelly. So let's get down to the real stuff.
Let's do it.
You've been a head coach now on the Division I level, 4 months, 4.5, something, 5 months.
Right.
What's it been like?
It's been fast and furious. As I look at this journey, it's been to come on board, to have to put a recruiting class together extremely fast, to move from recruiting to getting out on the road, and meeting our fan base, and then getting back and getting ready for spring ball a week and a half after signing day, to moving past that to recruiting. It's been fast. Really haven't had an opportunity to sit back and assess it all, but that's part of what you do. You move from one thing to the next, and the next part of this journey is getting my family here, and they arrive next Sunday. So extremely excited about that.
It's really interesting he said that, because off the air, away from everything, a couple of weeks ago, we ran into each other near the baseball field, and you said that to me, that, yeah, it's great to be a head coach on the D1 level, but you said, I miss my family.
Yeah, for me, my wife Leanne, we've been close to each other for probably the last 27 years, and we met in college. Been married 22 years. We have two beautiful children, Mackenzie, who's 15, Sydney, who's 13, and those ladies are definitely my backbone. I know I have a staff, I know I have a group of coaches, but I've dragged them all across the country. And so with that being said, you get used to having good people around you, and they're not good, they're great.
The day that they had your press conference, it was on a Saturday, and we're all over there, and in the next hour after that, you do a bunch of radio interviews, you do a bunch of TV interviews, and I remember when I met you, I said, we have a mutual acquaintance in the Harbaugh family, and we'll get to that in a few minutes, but you walked in at a time where there's not a lot of time for tea and crumpets. You've got a recruit starting at 1 o'clock that afternoon. What were those next few days like?
Just looking at what we had to do and where we needed to go, we had to fully assess what was in our program, who we had, and we had watched film as a staff. We had looked at the guys that were on our board. But for us, it's always a matter of just trying to find guys that are like us, the guys that are like our program. And so, with that being said, and I know it sounds cliche, but in the last 6 years, I've had a chance to win 7 championships. Last 7 years, I've had a chance to win 6 championships. And with those championships, there's some things that you start to realize over time. 1, character. 2, integrity. 3, young men who can really look at being able to, problem solve. And then 4, are they willing to push past adversity? So for me, as I assess our team, as I assess recruiting, as I assess where we're at, all those things are the factor for me.
So for about a week before it opened, I think all of us in the media had a suspicion James was going to Penn State. As that was going on, were you saying to yourself, I'm going after Vandy, or never gave it the first thought, or somewhere in between? Where were you as far as if this comes open?
You know what? I really didn't follow the saga at all. Here's why. We were just coming off a loss in the Rose Bowl to Michigan State. Okay, so for me, it was a week and a half, off of that ride. All of our coaches had went to the coaching convention. I stayed back with my family, just trying to spend a little time with my family. And I got a phone call from Kevin Coleman, who's one of our associate athletic directors, on a Tuesday evening. And he said, Derek, would you be interested in interviewing for the Vanderbilt job? And I'm on the phone with my wife. I'm on the phone with Kevin, and my wife's looking at me like, what's going on? And I'm saying,
Vandy.
so she knew what that meant.
Right.
She looked and she started.
So
pacing.
hold on. There's a signal in your family.
Oh, yeah.
If somebody wants to offer you a job, what
Yeah.
is it? Nice.
This is the one.
Okay, I got it.
So and I talked to Kevin, and I told him that I need to call David Shaw and talk to David, and we sort of went through the particulars of what it would look like, and they just told me that I would need to be in Atlanta. If I was willing to go for the interview, I'd need to be in Atlanta in 2 days on
See,
Thursday.
that's good info to know, because now I'll know the next time they have some search, we'll just move down to Atlanta for a few days. Hey, Larry Leathers, who is Vanderbilt's football sports information director, is in the back. Larry, did you get that note about what the signal is? If somebody offers him a job, here's the signal to the family. You got that? So you interviewed for it. Were you certain at that point that you wanted it?
Yes. When I had a chance to get off the phone and actually talk to David, talk to my wife, David Shaw told me, he said, Derek, man, you've done everything that I've needed you to do here. It's time for you to move on. My wife's, Ashley, when I was on the phone and went like this, and she heard the Vanderbilt name come up, she went to the computer, as wives do. And she just started typing in information about Nashville. So, but once we had a chance to sit down and talk, she thought that, it was probably the right place at the right time. So with that being said, I felt like it was the right time, and now it was just the opportunity just to go interview.
You want to really help your PR right now?
Yeah.
I would say go Predators and see what happens.
Go Predators. Oh man, this is wild. I like this group.
What you have to do, you get them to your 3:30 in the afternoon game against Ole Miss, and then if they've got a game that night, you turn it into a doubleheader, and it's a good sports day in Nashville.
Okay, we'll have to call it Nashfest then, huh?
Exactly.
All right.
He's learning. He's learning quick. So tell people a little bit about the whole Stanford deal. We've all looked at Stanford and said that's a model for how a Vanderbilt, a Duke, a Northwestern ought to do it. We know about Harbaugh being there. We know David Shaw is very impressive. Tell us what really goes on at Stanford.
Stanford's a different place. It's called the home of champions. Stanford's won over 111 national championships in sports ranging from aquatic team aquatics to lacrosse, basketball, softball, and whatever it may be. And what's different about Stanford once you come on that campus is that everybody is immersed in the whole process of being one. Football is no different than volleyball, no different than women's lacrosse, no different than synchronized swimming, no different than the med school students on campus. It's a place where everybody encourages everybody, and that's a different environment. From the first time that I actually stepped on the campus, I had Dr. Littman. He's one of the gentlemen who actually invented Lipitor. Okay, talk to me. He's an interdisciplinary professor, works in the medical field, but spends time with the law program. He was the first person I saw, okay, and I saw him maybe 40 times a year. And all we talked was the Stanford student athlete and their quest to be great, not good. And so, you know, for me, I got a great sense that everybody wanted to be great on that campus. Condoleezza Rice and I had several conversations about what it takes to be great. Tara Vanderveer, the women's basketball coach. And I'd walk down to her office, you know, maybe 2 or 3 times a year just to spend some time with her, go to lunch, and we talk about, you know, what championship performance looks like. And it had nothing to do with male or female. It had everything to do, you know, with the quest for, you know, knowledge, the quest to be a champion.
I've told Derek this story